Wake up. There are opportunities coming for you today, and I don't want you to miss them. Don't miss your moment. Hey, thanks for joining us today in our video. My name is Scott. Welcome to the channel. It's a new channel. If you want to become part of the community, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and if you think this information is helpful, share it with somebody else. Today we're going to talk about not missing an opportunity. I don't know about you, but I've before woken up in the morning and totally missed my alarm. Like it didn't go off or I didn't set it, something was wrong. I've literally jumped out of bed and thought to myself, because of my job, I'm a pastor, I'll preach on a regular basis. I'll think, am I preaching today? Are there like a bunch of people sitting in a room waiting for me to show up? Have you ever had that? Maybe not that exact experience, but you woke up, you missed your alarm clock, you're going to be late for work, you're going to miss an appointment, there's an interview, a test, something. The terror of oversleeping your alarm clock is the terror that we're going to miss something important. Winston Churchill has a great quote. He says this, "To each there comes a time in their lifetime, a special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing, a unique to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared or unqualified for that which could have been their finest hour." You don't miss these opportunities. The history is filled with stories of people who there was this incredible opportunity, and for one reason or another, they missed it. Whether it was selling a company, look up Domino's Pizza, Dominick's Pizza when it started. Two brothers, and one guy sells half the business for a Volkswagen, and then it sells for $1 billion. Or there's a drummer from a garage band in Boston. He had two buddies that he would play with on a regular basis. He's 19 years old, Joe Perry and Steven Tyler. And his mom told him, "You're staying out too late. You got to focus on your school." So he did. Now whenever Aerosmith comes to town in Boston, they send him a free ticket. He missed that moment. And then you think about in the Bible, the Israelites, they stand on the edge of the promised land. They can go in. It's already been given to them, but they're afraid to take action. They miss the moment. They spend 40 years wandering in the wilderness. And there's people who seize their moment, right? The Neil Armstrongs of the world. They walk on the moon and he says this statement, "One small step for man," and I bet you can finish it. I had the opportunity one time. There's only 12 guys that ever walked on the moon. I had the opportunity to hang out with a guy, Charles Duke, one day. And I asked him, I said, did he know he was going to say that? And he said that they all talk about it. And he said that he says that it was spontaneous, but they think it's prepared. Not a lot of people speak poetically. Here's the reality. Whether it just came off the cuff or he wrote it ahead of time, he was prepared for the moment. Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream speech. He was ready to seize that moment. You start looking at throughout history, people like Abraham Lincoln, Gettysburg Address, ready to seize the moment. Esther in the Bible. That's a great way to talk about God's sovereignty, but our opportunity. When you look at the book of Esther and you see a woman, if she could risk her own life and go before the king and save all of the Jewish people, or she can miss her moment. And she'll miss out. God will still do what he wants to do. I love what it says in Esther chapter 4 and verse 14. It says this, "For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows? But you come to your royal position for such a time as this." This is your moment, Esther. And she steps in. Some people seize it. Some people miss it. I don't want you to miss what God has for you in your life. And so how can you be prepared? And the first way is simply this. You need to be prepared by having an encounter with Jesus. Whenever God uses somebody significantly, first he has an intimate encounter with them. So whenever he's going to use somebody significantly, he first interacts with them intimately. Before there's going to be significance, there's this private moment of intimacy. Like Moses, before he's going to stand before Pharaoh, cross the Red Sea, there's a burning bush moment. David, before he's going to step before a giant, there's shepherding moments. Jacob's going to wrestle with God. Elijah's going to hear a whisper from God. Paul's going to be on the road to Damascus. Why do you persecute Saul, Saul? Before he changes his life, changes his name, writes most of the New Testament. There's this encounter with God. There's this encounter with Jesus first. Even Jesus himself, before he starts his public ministry, So it's 40 days fasting in the wilderness. And so first you've got to be prepared, which means time alone with God, encountering God. Second, you've got to be responsive, receptive, listening to him, listening to his voice. He says in John chapter 10, my sheep hear my voice. Why is it that sheep will respond to one shepherd, but not another shepherd? Why is it when the thieves come to steal and kill that the sheep actually know, even though they're dumb animals, this is not protection. This isn't who leads me beside still waters. This isn't who guides me to the green grass. This isn't who walks with me even in the valley of the shadow of death. This isn't the one who leaves the 99 and comes to rescue me because of familiarity and a continual responsiveness to God's leading and direction. See, there's a lot of people in the world that say that they're followers of Jesus, but the reality is they believe facts about Jesus. They don't actually follow him. To follow him means that you're responsive to his voice when he speaks to you, through his word, through his example, his Holy Spirit, and impressions that he'll place on your heart. So are you listening? My wife and I were watching a movie the other day. It's just an okay movie, but it was called See For Me. It's about a blind girl who's cat sitting at this huge mansion in this rural area, and she can't see. And so when there's times where she needs to be able to see, there's this app called the See For Me app. And she'll call it, and she'll literally hold her phone up and let somebody else be her eyes. But then she's got to decide whether she's going to listen to the guidance that she's being given by somebody who can see things that she can't see. In the movie, the girl that's guiding her is named Kelly, and the girl that's being guided is named Sophie, word for wisdom. And she's thinking that she's in danger. She doesn't know exactly what's happening. The scene that pops up on Netflix, if you go to just kind of scroll over top of it, is there's these home invaders that are there, and she's trying to get out of the house. Well, what they haven't told you is that Kelly's just told her, you need to get into the basement. You're too out in the open, you're going to get caught. And she goes, no, I know. And kind of like how sometimes we do with God, I know better than you do. But sometimes we go on detours, but he guides us. He keeps speaking to us, even when we don't listen sometimes. And he says, Kelly says to Sophie, pan the room. I want to see right to left. Show me the room. And she's showing the room, and she says, all right, there's a guy in the foyer. You can't go that way. You can't go back. There's a guy that way. Let me see this other room. And then Sophie, thinking she knows better than Kelly, who can see, says, no, I know where the door is. I'm going to go for it. And Kelly says, nope, out of protection. Do you listen when God says no? Do you listen when he prompts you to go? You see, following him means listening to him. And so if you don't want to miss your moment, you need to have encounters with him regularly as he's preparing you. He's going to give you these significant moments. Like Winston Churchill says, figuratively tap you on the shoulder for an opportunity that might be your finest hour. How sad if you're unprepared or not ready. God's got moments for you every day. Sometimes I've prayed this prayer, God, smack me in the face with it so that if I'm denying you by walking away from the opportunities you have before me. Sometimes that's to share the gospel. Sometimes it's to be kind. Sometimes it's a prompting to send somebody an encouraging message. Sometimes it's a repenting of sin in my own life. But are you listening? I'd encourage you to maybe starting your days, rather than telling God a bunch of stuff in prayer, just pausing before him, acknowledging your need for him, and asking him if there's anything he wants to say to you. Don't miss your moment, and the way you don't miss your moment is you're encountering him regularly, and you're listening to him as he speaks. Are you listening? Thanks for tuning in today. I hope this video was helpful. If you found it beneficial, maybe somebody else would too, and you might share it with them. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and until next time, I think we're better for having had the conversation.